Hello, I'm your host Kaylee, and I would like to welcome Red from Shitty Song of the Week to the Murder Game. The Murder Game is a hypothetical thought exercise where Red's goal is going to be to off as many people as he possibly can using unlimited resources. But he's not allowed to use bombs or poison, so he's going to have to get creative to outsmart his targets. My task is to be the voice of reason. In the Murder Game, Red doesn't care about getting caught, but if he does, the game ends. How far will Red go to achieve a high score? Now let's get into the fake crime and find out Red's solution to the Murder Game. Welcome to the most twisted game of all, the Murder Game. This hypothetical thought exercise has one goal: eliminate as many people as you possibly can. It's all about numbers, no moral compass, just a thirst for chaos. Just 3 simple rules. Rule 1, unlimited resources. Money, technology, influence. You have everything at your fingertips. Rule 2, poison, bombs, off the table. Don't rely on usual methods. This game is for the creative, the cunning, the brilliant. It's your mind against the masses. Rule 3, you don't care about getting caught or eliminated, but once you are, the game ends. Count the bodies, the highest number wins. Are you ruthless enough to play the Murder Game?
Wish I had a long, twisty mustache. I would twist it.
Yeah,
right.
I see. You got the snidely whiplash thing going on.
Yeah.
I am so pumped to hear your solution to the Murder Game. You and I talked just a little teeny tiny bit about your solution before we started recording, and I believe that it has to do with something relating to healthcare, which has the potential for very high numbers. So why don't you talk me through your plan?
So I feel like I've listened to every episode so far, and I feel like the medical field is probably going to get the highest numbers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I could be a serial killer and kill 15, 20, 30 people, whatever, but I feel like the medical field is probably going to be the best way to go here. So if you want the full spiel, I'm like Bruce Wayne, right? I'm rich. I've got, you know what I mean? Unlimited resources, as you say, unlimited money.
Everybody loves you.
I'm a philanthropist. Everybody loves me. I'm a whole thing, right? So I take a trip to North Korea, to a small town called Pyongyang, China.
Okay.
And I hang out there for a little bit, and I see what I'm trying to do is get like, I've thought about this. I could go one of 2 ways. So I either go and isolate my stuff to one particular area, or I do this. This is what I'm actually going to do, because I just changed my mind. I gain the trust of everybody in the medical fields everywhere. I put out journals and you know, things and all this.
Across the world, not just in Pyongyang, China.
No, I was just visiting there for a second. I think I came back. I'm going to do something different now. And I've had a couple scenarios that I've been tossing around, but I think I'm going to go this way. So,
all right,
I am going to start a drug trial for quote unquote the cure for cancer. Right?
Okay.
And it's going to have all the things to pass all the phases to fake everybody out, but at the back end of this strain of the cure for cancer, I'm going to put in, so I could go either anthrax or something I found today called the Marbug, what is it called? Damn it, I just had it in my head. But let's go with anthrax. That's easier. Anthrax.
All right.
Right? And anthrax is normally like spores and airborne and all that, but me having unlimited resources and unlimited money, I figure out how to put it in a vial, and I figured out how to inject people with it. Okay. And it's the thing about it is that anthrax is a faster killer than any, like a coronavirus would be, you know what I mean? But it's going to have the highest kill count potential. And whenever I sign people up for my drug trial, I'm going to give them, just for signing up for the drug trial, you got cancer-ish, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a mask anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give each person that signs up for the drug trial, let's say $1 million, just for signing up and doing the thing. I've got unlimited resources, right?
Yep,
that's
you
going
can
to draw.
Absolutely do
that's
that.
going to draw everybody in. And another stipulation in my application for the drug trial is I'm not only taking applications from the United States, but I'm also taking applications from the far reaches of the globe, right?
Okay.
And that on my phase 1 from my drug trial things that you have to do, the stipulation is I have to get people from all over the globe, not just in America, not just
You have to have a big sample size, basically.
right. Yeah, it's a control thing. So I've got like Americans do this, and then maybe people in South Africa act this way about it. You know what I mean? So I've got to get everybody on the same page at the same time. So
Okay.
I feel like you get the drug trial, you take the shot, whatever, and according to my research today, anthrax kills pretty quick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I figure that when they leave the drug trial, they go home. I think it's got a 9-day
Gestation.
gestation thing. Yeah. So in the interim, it's also it's also airborne. So when they go home to their family members, they're gonna cough and hack and do the things, and because they're having a hard time breathing, and they're gonna cough and spittle and all this kind of stuff all over their family members and their friends, and it's gonna spread and it's gonna wipe everybody out pretty quick. I feel like.
Okay. I think this is very interesting. Let's go back to, so before I get away from it, because I 110% will forget.
Okay.
Inhalation anthrax has a cause of death in 3 to 7 days. That's the most lethal form. However, the gastrointestinal anthrax, so if you're ingesting it and it gets into that gastrointestinal system, it can take 1 to 2 weeks. But it could take longer if treated. Those words don't make sense. Stupid AI overview on Google doesn't know anything about anthrax. Let's say 1 to 2 weeks is what it takes.
Yeah.
But now let's go back. I love talking about the FDA. I think that the FDA is really interesting. Mm-hmm. Now, I also think that it's really interesting to allure to cancer patients. Mm-hmm. I have always said, fuck the FDA. I think that the FDA actually kills more people than anybody else. And the reason for that is because there are plenty of drugs that you could try to use to potentially cure deadly cancer, where people are going to die no matter what.
Right.
And those people are not being offered those drugs because they might also, induce vomiting. Listen, if I have to choose between death and vomiting, I'm going to choose vomiting every single day for the rest of my life. I'm
going to throw my ass up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, If it's constant diarrhea for the rest of my life versus dying, I'm taking constant diarrhea for the rest of my life.
I'm going to get asshole transplants every couple of years. Yeah.
So
sure.
first of all, fuck the FDA. So anytime that we are talking about doing something that is basically saying, hey, look at how unsafe the FDA is, I am very interested in it. And that's basically what your plan is.
Right.
Now, here's the hiccup, and I think that you already kind of addressed this, but I wanna circle back to it.
Okay.
Whenever you're doing a drug trial for the FDA, there are different levels of testing. So they're not going to just instantly test on humans. What they're going to do is they're first going to test on animals or whatever the fuck they do. They're going to actually figure out what exactly is in the drug, make sure that none of the ingredients are harmful. So your plan is that during that phase of testing, there will be no anthrax introduced to your drug. Is that correct?
Correct. I'll have a separate set of scientists and laboratory people doing the thing, making a cure for cancer that passes all of the stipulations.
All the checks.
So then whenever we go to distribute and do the drug trial, it's a bait and switch kind of thing. I'll have a separate set of goons making the deadly shit in a warehouse somewhere that I've paid astronomical amounts of money to shut the fuck up about. And then I've got an astronomical amount of money into actual drug trials that fakes all the FDA people out. Yeah.
Yep. And again, fuck the FDA. So I love faking them out. So here's a question though.
Okay.
How are you actually going to get the anthrax into the bad batch, let's call it? And the reason that I ask that is because that toes the line. This toes the line on two potential rules of the murder game. It toes the line, one, that if you are introducing anthrax into your thing, you somehow have to get that anthrax into your drug.
Right.
And you can't tell one of your employees, here, put this anthrax in here, because that counts as them catching you. You would get caught by somebody knowing that they're introducing anthrax. So somehow you got to get anthrax, and then you got to mislabel it so that nobody thinks that it's anthrax in the facility.
Well, I'm allowed to have goons that work for me, right?
I would count that as getting caught. It doesn't matter if the authority catches you or if somebody else does. But talking about that, we can absolutely talk about a different way for you to get those goons to not realize that they're helping you. So what we got to do is we got to trick those goons.
Yeah, so I think I've got it. So the actual scientists are making the thing, while the goons are. I've got them making something else. I tell them whatever, right?
Yeah,
and somehow moving the anthrax from laboratory A to laboratory B to add another input another additive or whatever the thing is. That will be what the goons have been making this whole time, and they are the last step to put the anthrax in the syringes.
But they can't know that it's anthrax, so you got to mislabel it.
That's what I'm saying. I got to call it like I don't know, Project B. It's a last supplement to go into the whatever.
Super helpful anti-cancer drug.
Right.
That's what you. Yeah. It's collagen, so that your hair looks beautiful when you're done with your cancer treatment. Yes,
they're working on the anthrax Rogaine treatment. So when your cancer's gone, your hair grows back. There you go.
You look beautiful. You look beautiful.
That works. Yeah.
I like it. So I don't actually know enough about the FDA trials. I would think, although I could be totally wrong about this, I would think that when the FDA is doing a drug trial, that because it's the government, that they are ultra compulsive about who is working on what, and that they oversee the shit out of that. And therefore, it might be hard for you to have laboratory A and laboratory B. That would be one of my guesses to being a hiccup to your plan.
Well, I told you in the beginning. I told you in the beginning I was Bruce Wayne, and everybody fell in love with me, and I'm well respected in all the places, even the government, I guess. Yeah. So they would allow me to. I mean, I'm finding a loophole. I'm trying to find a loophole, I guess, but they would allow me to. Because I'm throwing money around like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm paying people off. Let me have 2 warehouses or 2 labs. Here's $10 billion. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there's a chance for, somebody with the popularity and all the philanthropy that I've been doing my whole life, that they would allow me to have 2 separate testing facilities.
You got friends in the right places, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm covering up elected official scandals, so they owe me favors and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So,
I like that you're using the resources to the best of their abilities.
I'm maxing them out.
The other hiccup that you have, which you and I, again, we talked a little bit about this because this is a tricky one when it comes to the murder game, is anthrax poison?
Well, from the research that I've done today, it's been used as bioterrorism before, because you used to be able to get anthrax mailed to you in a letter. You used to be able to pick it up. You know what I mean? Like it's a spore thing from what I found out. But if you compound it down enough, you can turn it into a injectable thing. Now, I don't know if it's poison because it lives in the ground dormant until it's disturbed and all this kinds of shit. So
it's basically weed is what you're trying to say.
I mean, it's a microorganism that lives in the dirt. Yeah. I mean, if you want to call it.
So Dictionary.com says that the definition of poison is a substance that is capable of causing the illness or death of a living organism when introduced or absorbed. So I would say that anthrax...
That's anything, though.
I know, it's literally anything. It's alcohol, it's cigarettes, it's absolutely anything. We could call anything poison.
Yeah.
I think it's close. So what I would like to do in order to get you guaranteed numbers is let's keep talking about your solution and let's really hash out what makes it particularly murderous, because I think you have the potential for super high numbers. Yeah. We just got to get around the barriers. So is there anything that we could introduce other than anthrax that is less poisony. So, for example, there are certain drugs that are really, really healthy for you unless you take them in really high doses.
Insulin.
So could we, yeah, exactly. So
insulin kills the shit out of people.
And so again, that's still kind of on the line of, is it poison? Is it not poison? But isn't everything poison? I mean, you could probably make...
The one thing that keeps insulin from being a poison is your body makes it naturally.
That's a very good point.
So your body can't make poison. It makes stuff to help you, but in large doses and lethal doses, it can kill you.
It can kill you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to substitute anthrax for insulin, that's fine with me. I don't really care. I was just thinking something that killed quick. You know what I mean? That's what I was going for, high numbers and real fast. So
high numbers and real fast. Well, I definitely think that you don't have any problems unless we are talking about the people in your facility figuring you out. I think that you don't have any problems with not getting caught, at least until you have killed mass numbers of people.
Yeah, but by then I've built a bunker in Antarctica somewhere, and I'm, what I mean? Yeah,
and you don't even care. You don't even care.
Yeah.
Because as long as you got your numbers, that's all that matters.
Right.
So how many people do you think you end up having in your drug trial?
All right. So the research that I've done today says that, let me find it here. Since January of 2024, there have been 20,466 or 68 drug trials. That's drug trials. That's not people. That's functions, let's call them, events. So I'm paying $1 million for you to come take my drug trial. So that's going to draw people in right there.
They're going to want to do your drug trial over somebody else's drug trial.
Over somebody else's, because I'm handing out $1 million to whoever wants to come do it.
They have to have cancer.
Right, they have to have
FDA
cancer.
would definitely, the FDA would definitely get suspicious if you were treating non-cancer patients. So they have to have cancer, and probably more specifically, they have to have a specific type of cancer. So maybe you want to pick skin cancer, which I think is a pretty common type of cancer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Although skin cancer isn't so deadly, so maybe it kind of... Would people be willing to risk it? I mean, for $1 million, I guess, if I had skin cancer, even if it wasn't deadly at all.
Breast cancer.
Breast cancer is very common. Good one.
The most common cancer in the world, accounting for 2.26 million new cases in 2020. Breast cancer, second is lung cancer, but I'll go with breast cancer. I like titties. That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I am looking at the statistics on how many people die of breast cancer annually in the United States, and the answer to that is 43,000.
That's in the United States, but I'm trying to draw
just in the United States.
Yeah.
Globally, it looks like it's 670,000.
Nice.
So very big numbers. And again, if you draw all of those people to your test, and those are just the people who are dying of breast cancer, not the number of people who have it.
Right.
So obviously more people have it than are dying of it, which means that you have the potential to draw into your trial a huge number of people. And since you're offering that $1 million a person, you don't care that you're spending $670 million or more than that. I can't even do those numbers right now. There's too many zeros in those numbers.
Yep.
Okay, so you get a ton of people in your trials.
Mm-hmm.
And do all of them... So some of your people are going to only be a part of your phase 1 trial. So they're going to survive.
Yeah. I got to have a placebo. I have to have a placebo to pass the FDA shit. Yes.
So how many people do you think are going to be in your round 2 of trials where they are for sure going to die?
Well, if you get a handful, let's say first go around phase 1, you get 100,000.
Yep.
50,000. Let's go low just to be safe.
Yep.
They're going to go home and tell all their friends. They're going to go and tell all their doctor friends. They're going to go and say this and that. This guy's got the shit. I did this. My first go around, I'm scheduled for my second one. This go around, you should get in on phase 1, phase 2, whatever it is. I don't know how it works, but as each phase goes on, you don't get the lethal dose until the last phase of the drug trial anyway. So I've already drawn in 100,000 first go around, second go around, word of mouth. Let's say it doubles. And I don't know how many phases there are in drug trials, but is it 3, 4? I'm not sure how many.
Let's say it's 3. I'm not actually sure, but let's say it's 3.
So then by the 3rd drug trial, I'm going to say it tripled.
All right.
Just from word of mouth and, the success of the first phase. They're going to go home and they're going to be, optimistic about everything, and they've got hope.
Well, and not only that, but you're Bruce Wayne, which means that you can get doctors on your side. So you can tell doctors, hey, suggest my drug over anybody else's drug.
Right. I'm paying them off. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk about 300,000. Of those 300,000 who are going into the deadly round of your drug trial, some of those people are going to die of natural causes. I think we can. Or
cancer will get them
saying,
before I get to them.
The cancer gets to them before you do.
Yeah.
Not only that, we switched over to insulin based upon my requirements here.
Right.
So how many people, or I guess how quickly can you die of an overdose to insulin is my next question.
It's almost instantaneous, I think.
Oh, is it?
There was a nurse somewhere that killed a bunch of people through insulin. And it was like masked as a heart attack or something like that, something crazy like that. So
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure it's not, I mean, maybe not instantaneous, but within, for sake of the game, till I get home, maybe, so they don't catch me. You know what I'm saying? Because if I give you a shot on the table and you die right there, people are going to automatically stop the drug trial.
Yeah, people will stop the drug trial.
Right.
So let's hope that it's approximately a day.
Okay.
I think this is pretty solid. Again, I think that your 2 problems, I think that we completely addressed one of your problems, which was the having your accomplices figure you out.
Yeah.
I think your second problem, I don't think that you're getting caught until some number of people die. I think that your major problem is it towing the line with poison, which I don't really care about because it sounds fun as fuck. So, and let's be honest.
My only argument with that, though, is it can't be poison if your body makes it naturally.
If your body makes it naturally. I don't disagree. I think that we're close enough to it not being poison that I am going to certainly allow this to pass.
Yeah.
So I think that means that you get some massive numbers with this guy. Like massive. What other things do you think that you would need to do along the way? I think that you figured it out. People are incentivized by money. People are incentivized by not wanting to die of cancer. So you got those 2 things hugely going for you. Do you think that there's anything else that you want to do along the way to kind of really like bolster the idea, like use my shit, come join me?
All right. So there has to be some kind of positive side effect to the first round of drug trials.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in sickly, or they're going to come in just finding out or whatever. And there's got to be some kind of positive influence in the first round. But I don't know what it would be. I didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah.
Like you get the first round, you go home, maybe you feel better. You feel better. Your immune system is a little stronger because cancer kills the immune system, I think. I'm not real sure. But I feel like just generally there needs to be some kind of positive influence in the first round, so they want to come back for the second and the third round. So I don't get drawn suspicion to after the first phase. Yeah. So they start to notice hair growth or something. You know what I mean? Like just something crazy, something off the wall that would incentivize them to come back for the second and third round.
Or even something as simple. Now, again, I don't know how this works because I'm not a medical professional, but something as simple as if my back hurts, then ibuprofen makes me feel better. So even just something that simple, the equivalent of that, but with cancer.
Right.
No, I don't know what that is, but the equivalent of, I just feel maybe you're putting cocaine in it, like you're putting something in there that there's a little bit of ecstasy in this one. It's wonderful, something that is just generally giving people endorphins, I guess, would be kind of the idea. Of that first
some
round.
kind of feel good placebo thing in there to make them want to come back for the second. Maybe like cocaine, because cocaine is highly addicting. So if I sprinkle a little bit of cocaine in there, something or something scientifically equivalent to cocaine.
Yes, I was going to say
a Fedrin or something crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? Something to put a little bit of pep in the step and make them feel good, so they want to come back.
I think that's very funny. I just love it when we get to say fuck the FDA. That's like my favorite thing in the world to do. I'm sorry, I keep fixating on that, but gosh darn it, do I love saying that. Okay. Let's talk about your worst case scenario here. Let's talk about your worst case scenario.
Okay.
You know what? Actually, I want to look up how many people, because I imagine that the FDA, I understand that you're trying to pay everybody off. I want to kind of see the real world numbers of how many people usually are in each drug trial. Okay. I know you said that there was just over 20,000 drug trials per year.
Per year.
In those drug trials, how many people participate per drug trial?
Yeah, so I was doing a little shopping with my wife today while we were talking about this, and when we were talking about it, I Googled it, and we started shopping and doing shit, and I didn't think to check how many people are in the drug trial. So,
all right, let's
drop the ball.
Let's see if we can find that out. Oh, look at that! There are 3 phases. In fact,
nice.
Phase 1, but this is okay. So this is a little bit tricky. Phase 1 typically involves 20 to 80 participants. So if we're talking real world, not with your gigantic Bruce Wayne influence.
Yeah.
Then we're talking 20 to 80. Phase 2 includes 100 to 300. Okay. However, Phase 3 can involve hundreds to thousands. So we're talking in the thousands more so than we're talking in the hundreds of thousands. But those are still huge numbers. And again, with your influence...
Well, what happens if I set up drug trial stations in different parts of the country where I'm drawing in those numbers in each station, in each place? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Or in different countries. You can literally go to, so you go to the FDA in the United States, and then you go over to the UK and do whatever the equivalent of the FDA is there. I don't know what it's called, but you basically can do that. And not only that, you could go to third world countries where there are no requirements and just say, hey, do you have cancer? Would you like my drug?
That's why I said South Africa.
Yeah.
Somewhere isolated.
Absolutely. So I think that, let's say that you could get 2,000 people per country, which I think, again, is a low end estimate. I think that is a very, very, very bare minimum. At 2,000 per country. But then you go to, let's see, how many
countries?
There's a lot of countries.
I'm going to hit all the countries.
There's a lot of countries. I don't actually know how many countries.
Right,
how many countries do you think there are? Let's both look dumb.
200 and some.
I think there's more than that.
I'm just
How
guessing.
many countries? God damn it, there's not. There's 195 countries.
I was so close. Damn it.
I really thought it was going to be more than that. I would have looked really dumb. I would have guessed like 300
So what is that, 400,000 then? Right?
So yeah, so if you have, what did we say, 2,000?
Yeah.
Let's say that there's 200 countries just to make it nice and even. 40,000 humans. I'm doing the wrong numbers here. That's not correct.
2,000 people per drug trial at 200 countries is 400,000.
400,000, yeah, 400,000 people. I do think that those are legitimate numbers. I think that you, and again, I think that those could potentially be low end numbers. The challenge would be that you would have to basically do this in all of the countries simultaneously.
Yes.
So you really couldn't do it like staggered, like you couldn't do the United States and then move on to the UK, because you would definitely get caught with that.
Right.
So the challenge would be that I don't think that
huge medical team.
Yeah.
Huge
I think that if we're talking more seriously, you could probably do about 50 countries simultaneously, especially if you're hitting those smaller third world countries where there is no thing that is equivalent to the FDA. And in that case, your numbers would be looking more like 100,000. So I think that you're probably looking at minimum 100,000, which is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. That's I like those numbers. That's good.
Yeah, I do too. Now, I will be honest with you. Despite the fact that these numbers are amazing, I think that you probably have the highest numbers that we've seen so far. I'm bad at remembering numbers. I don't remember my hundreds and thousands, despite the fact that I have a math degree that is completely useless to anything.
Yeah.
I think that you might have the highest numbers so far. And I think that it ties into that the human want to get healthy. And I always think that it's interesting to play on that. So it's a very creative and a very high number solution for sure.
Yeah, I think that, again, I said it in the beginning, I think the medical field in this game go hand in hand. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because people are fooled. They live on false hope, and they strive to be healthy, like you say. So that's, being a serial killer in the basement sounds fun, and it's mischievous, and I'm figuring out weapons and all that, but we're going for numbers here, and again, the medical field.
Medical field is where it's at. Yeah. I totally agree with you. So I have not shared my solution to the murder game yet, and I will tell you, my solution to the murder game, I think I'm only getting around 800 people. I don't think I can get more than 800, and that's because I purposely want to get my hands dirty. I know if I went medical field is for sure medical field and hugely crowded places. Those are the two ways to go, and my solution involves neither of those things. So I know full well I am never going to have my highest number. I just really want to get my hands dirty.
Yeah, in real life, 800 casualties is pretty fucking phenomenal.
It's insane. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's comparing to things. This is what I like about the murder game, is we get to kind of look up real statistics. We get to talk about the real life tragedies. Yeah. And while we're talking about the real life tragedies, we also get to have fun and be creative and be stupid and talk about how we're murdering all these damn people. Right. Like, you're literally talking about killing cancer patients. You're talking about killing a group of people who already have a horrible life, which is both tragic and hilarious. Yeah. And that's exactly what we need when we're talking about this shit. That is, you're evil, you're vile, and I love it.
Yeah, it's false hope.
Yeah,
absolutely. You're giving people false hope. They think they're going to get cured, but all the while, I'm deviating plans over here.
It's completely the opposite. It's completely the opposite. Well, Red, thank you so much for sharing your solution to the murder game with me. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I would love it if you would tell everybody where they can find you when you are not off fucking up the whole medical field.
Well, you can look up and Google Shitty Song of the Week. It's available everywhere you listen and watch podcasts. You can watch it on Spotify. You can follow the show on Twitter at SSOTW show. And you can look me up on Twitter at Red SSOTW if you want to follow me, but who gives a shit about that? Go follow the show, listen to the show, watch the show. It's a bracket style music competition show. So each week we bring a song, each person brings a song, we pit them against one another, figure out which one is the shittiest by putting out a poll on the internet. And at the end of the year, we go through and we pick Shitty Song of the Year through all the winners throughout the year. So it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun.
It's super, super
fun. We had you on and it was a blast.
I had the honor of joining. I loved trying to pick shitty songs, and you guys were right. You all said, you were like, now you're just going to be thinking of shitty songs for the rest of your life. And now every song that I hear, I'm like, that's the perfect song for Shitty Song of the Week. So while you're thinking about murdering people, also be thinking about shitty songs. Definitely go subscribe to Shitty Song of the Week. It's absolutely incredible. Red, you have been a pleasure talking about murder with. And I hope that everybody,
I appreciate it.
I hope that everybody who has been listening has been enjoying. If you ever want to be a guest on the Murder Game podcast, if you think you can beat Red's numbers, if you have a creative solution that either involves or does not involve the medical field, I would love to have you. So you can always reach me at murdergamepodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at murdergamepod. You can find me on YouTube, Murder Game Podcast, on Spotify. I'll be on the other platforms soon. Hopefully by the time that this episode is out, we'll find out about that. And I really appreciate you listening and having some fun, creative, hypothetical thought exercise time with us as we explore fake crime.